Alright, what is going on, my dudes? We're back here today with the next champion entering MCOC. We got the Enchantress. Now, this is, without a doubt, one of the most unique champions we have ever seen in MCOC. I mean, look at this ability list down here. She is like the prime example of that phrase, jack of all trades, master of none, right? Because if she's going to have all of this utility, all of this abilities, they can't all be busted OP, otherwise she would be the best champion in the game, alright? Now, she can do a lot of things, and when you need specific utility, she might just have it, alright? And if you're doing a long fight, she might be really good for it. Now, when it comes to shorter fights, like Battlegrounds and Alliance Wars, she probably isn't going to be the top pick. However, on the other side of the ball, on Alliance War and Battlegrounds defense, I anticipate her doing quite well, okay? So, let's start jumping in today about this very interesting champion, okay? So, Artist of Seduction, the ultimate thief of hearts. Her light and medium attacks power, steal, and do energy damage, right? So that means she can fight like Korg and everything, but the power steals up to 1% of her opponent's max power, except not at 3 bars. That's because she's going to be very special spammy, right? She's going to be spamming those special 1s to cast her spells, and then once you're all cast, you want to be spamming those special 2s, okay? That just makes it all a little bit easier. She's immune to power lock in her ability, and combat power rates can't be reduced below 50%, alright? Now, when inflicted with an opposing champion's effect that would cause her to lose power, she passively gains that same amount over 7 seconds. So like Dr. Doom special 1, Hulkbuster special 2, that kind of stuff. She'll like lose the power, but she'll also gain it right back. It's pretty darn cool. Now, charging a heavy attack after any non-combo ending attack, kind of like America Chavez and Wasp, she's going to go ahead and get that passive stun, alright? Now, if you do a heavy attack in this way, it will not grant the Enchantress power, but if you do like a parry heavy, it will. Another thing with her heavy attack is that after the first hit, it disables her special 3, and after the second hit, it disables her special 2. This is because, again, you want to be spamming special 1 very often with her when you're ramping up, and with Mystic Dispersion, it'll shoot you way above that, so that's a really cool design, alright? So, she uses her special 1 to cast spells. Now, I can explain this to you, but I feel like it's much better if you have a very solid visualization of the spell mechanics. So let's take a look at something that I made here.
Enchantress uses her special 1 to cast spells. These spells are indefinite, but grant or inflict temporary effects. Enchantress has multiple spellbooks, each containing different spells. And as an attacker, after the first hit of the attack, time will slow down. Swiping up, down, left, or right in specific combinations will cast a specific spell. Now, her special 2 gains increased attack rating for each active spell, up to 12. As well as different effects depending on the category of spell she has the most of. She can activate multiple effects if more than one spell is tied for the most.
So those are spells. We'll go over what they all do in just a moment, but let's talk about defense here because, like I said, I think she's going to be very potent on defense. So, for each active spell, 20% of all incoming damage is prevented. If any spells are still active at the start of her next special, the prevented damage is sent back to the attacker as direct damage. That's kind of crazy, man. So 20% of all incoming damage is prevented. So if she has one spell up, just one, and you would do, let's just say a 100k, let's just say a 200k special 2, right? Cap Infinity War, let's just say. You get a big crit on a rank 3 Cap Infinity War on the special 2. Now, if she had, that would instead take away 20% of that, so it would only do 160k, which is still a lot, of damage. That's quite a bit of damage. Now, when she uses her next special attack, that is going to reflect that 40k back at the attacker. So you have to really be on top of countering those spells and disabling them, and there are different ways to disable them, and I'll teach you that in just a moment. But one way to get about this is that each debilitate effect on Enchantress counts as a negative spell for the purpose of this ability, alright? Now, at the start of the fight, and when using her special 1, she casts a predefined combination of 3 spells at random. Now, these are the combinations, okay? She casts 3 spells 3 of them with the special 1, so you always have to be on top of it, and it's always going to be one of those combinations. Also, until she's thrown her special 1 2 times, she cannot use her special 2, and she's more likely to use the attack, and that resets after her special 2. Alright, now, that's a lot of info, man, but it's all very, very important, okay? Now, let's look at these spells. She has 3 spell books: Evocation, Transmutation, and Enchantment. Do you have to memorize all these spells to play her? No. Do you have to know at least one of each? Preferably, okay? Why is that? Because the special 2. The attack gains increased attack rating for each active spell up to 12. These do not have to be different spells, okay? You can do Fireball 4 times, for example, and that's going to give you 4 evocation spells for the purpose of that ability, alright? Now, here's where you have to learn at least one of each, though, alright? The spell she has the most of when using her special 2. It's going to gain a different effect on her special 2, and if you have a matching number, let's say you have 3 of each or 4 of each, you're going to gain all 3 benefits of the 3 different spell types. So, for Evocation, you gain increased critical rating for each active spell. For Transmutation, you lifesteal damage for each active spell, and for Enchantment, you reactivate the effect of each active spell. Now, obviously, the last one is more important because it also doubles the effect's potency if it's an enchantment spell, alright? So, let's go over what these spells do, dude. Alright, we have Fireball. I'm going to make this so simple and we're going to break it down so easily here. Fireball, it does Incinerate. Blizzard, it does Cold Snap and Frostbite. Chain Lightning, it does, what's it called? Shock. So, all of these have like secondary effects as well. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Alright, let's talk about Transmutation. Levitate will evade any attack. Oh, so cool. It will evade any attack that will knock her down. Now, this is really freaking cool against champions with special attacks that are 1 hit, because you can play her like Kitty Pryde and you will never get hit by a special attack. It is absolutely insane. Really, really good. She also instantly regenerates a portion of damage taken from blocked hits. Then she has Haste, where she dashes at you. She gains an unstoppable effect, right? She's also immune to reverse controls with this. Just so much utility in this kit. Over here with Etherealness, right? Grants an untouchable passive that grants a chance for incoming attacks to miss. And also, she regenerates a portion of energy damage taken while this is active. All of those effects have a potency of 30% and last for 20 seconds. Now, Enchantment, right? She's a Mystic Champion, so what can she do? She gets Dispel, which is going to give her a Nullify aura, kind of like Sorcerer Supreme, okay? Every 4 seconds, I'm going to nullify a buff. You have Antipathy, it's going to put a Neutralized passive of 30% potency, and Wilt, an Atrophy passive of 30% potency. But again, if you use the special 2, that 30% becomes 60%, and that's pretty darn solid. Now, how do you remove these spells? Oh, there's so much information to learn. Alright, for Evocation, man. All active Evocation spells end if Enchantress is intercepted while not unstoppable, okay? But how does he get the unstoppable? Well, with Haste over here, okay? So you gotta keep that in mind when you're fighting her. How do you remove Transmutation? Well, that's all removed when her heavy attack is interrupted or punished. Now, for Enchantment, all of those are removed when Enchantress is knocked down. So, what's an easy way to remember this? If she's got a green spell, you gotta interrupt her heavy. If she's got a purple spell, you wanna knock her down. And if she has an orange spell, you want to intercept her, okay? You always gotta keep the green spell in mind first and foremost, because that unstoppable is not gonna let you do your intercept, alright? So, you always want, pretty much when you're fighting her, you always want to be interrupting her heavy attack if you can with your own heavy, and that's going to take away Transmutation and Enchantment, and then get an intercept off, and you really wanna make sure she has no spells available when she uses her next special 1, okay? So that's what you want to do. I'm sorry this is kind of like information overload here, but it's all very important. Now let's talk about the special 3 here. She inflicts a non-stacking 25% charm debuff for 50 seconds. Now charm is really cool. It increases the potency of incoming power, steal, drain, and burn effects, right? Because she's going to gain those effects back. Also decreases the potency of the opponent's power gain, energize, and inexorable effects, okay? So, that's really solid, and when she is awakened, she gets one of those in her spells. She gets another spell! She gets Charm Champion. Look at this. Boom. Where is it? Can we see the glossary? Yes, inflicts a charm debuff with the 30% potency. Also, her enchantment spells last additionally up to 10 seconds longer, and whenever a buff fails to activate on the opponent, due to, like, you know, her neutralize and everything, or they are immune to one of her damaging effects, she instantly power steals up to 4% of their max power, but that's more of a defensive thing here, man, okay? So, that is Enchantress. Holy crap, that's a lot. And guess what? In her synergies, she gains even more spells. But oh my god, this video is going to be 25 minutes if we go over all the extra spells as well. So let's start looking at some gameplay today, all right? Enchantress in shorter fights, right? Again, like I said, you're probably not going to be using this champion on Battlegrounds attack or Alliance War attack. For questing stuff, sure, like 400,000 health and everything, sure, she'll be fine for that, right? But here's what you want to do, right? You see the little arrows on screen, down, right, is Fireball for Incinerate there. Now, as you can see, it's not taking for too much, right? Because she is primarily a defender here and better in longer fights. The special ones, they're really for ramping up to that gigantic special 2. So here, we're going to go for all 3 different of the damaging spells here. Chain Lightning, Blizzard, and Fireball. Now that we have 3, right, we're going to go up to our special 2 and we're going to launch that guy. Now, in certain Battlegrounds metas where there are buffs everywhere, right, and you can nullify the buffs with the Dispel spell, the enchantment spell, and you could ramp up that the power gain a lot faster, I think she could be potentially useful, right? But like, for example, in a vanilla fight, as you can see, she's not going to be the best, most useful champion to use an attack, right? Now, in a bit of a longer fight here, this Groot has 5 million plus health and lots of buffs. So, if there's an Everest-style fight with lots of buffs, right, she's going to be a fantastic option for it. So, we have 12 spells here, 4 of each. We have every single spell active, and as you can see, it's going to be very easy to be spamming these special 2s, and I was down to 80% health here, and I want you guys to see that, right? Because I want you to see the lifesteal from the special 2 along with, look at that, the power from Mystic Dispersion, right? Big crits there. We got the charm debuff from her signature ability. We have the damage over time ticking kind of nice here, as you can see. That was ticking a lot better than it was before, and we're just kind of spamming these special 2s. As you can see, this goes on for quite a while now, and she's back up at 100% health, right? And you just kind of repeat those fireballs, and you use the heavy attack to get rid of that special 3, and you just kind of keep the ball rolling. So as you can see here, as the fight goes on, you just kind of keep that cycle going with the special 2s, and once you're ramped, you're ramped. Now, one caveat here, if you get hit by a special attack, all those spells go away, so on attack. So you do not want to get hit by a special. Just keep that in mind. Now, before we end this video, let's take a look at the rotation I made for the deep dive, just to give a little bit more of a meta look against Serpent and some other meta defenders.
To begin, strike the opponent to power steal and start building your power. The fight in front of you will inform what order to cast your spells. If you're up against an opponent with lots of buffs, you might want to start with your enchantment spells to control them, and take advantage of Mystic Dispersion. But in a longer fight, your transmutation spells will keep you protected with passive Untouchable, Unstoppable, and allow you to recover from special attacks. Once your protection spells are set up, cast your evocation spells to round out your spellbooks and cast your damaging effects. Try to cast an even number of each type of spell. That way, you gain multiple bonus effects on your special 2. Once you're all set up, launch your special 2 to reactivate your spell effects and barrage the opponent with increased attack and crit rating. From here, just keep launching your special 2 until the opponent is knocked out. And if you get pushed to a special 3, just use your heavy to disable it and keep the ball rolling. Now, Enchantress excels when she has time to ramp, but in a shorter fight, you can skip right to your damaging spells for some extra damage over time, and then launch your special 2s with your increased critical rating. And hey, while in no way required, running Enchantress with the Mystic Dispersion Mastery will make casting all of those spells a lot speedier. There are lots of spell combinations to learn, so open that spellbook and get studying.
So that is Enchantress, dude. She's pretty cool. She's very complicated at first, but once you understand what to do, it becomes a lot easier, right? And it's kind of the same thing over and over. You cast your spells, and then you use your special 2s. Now, some people are going to love this champion on attack. Some people are going to hate this champion on attack. Fully expect that. She's going to be a pain in the butt on defense, whether you like her or not. So make sure you learn how to fight her. And hey, man, if she's your type of champion on attack, if you aren't a super battlegrounds focused attacking guy and you really just like those fun champions to play, Enchantress might be the character for you. Alright, that's gonna be it for this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, drop your boy a big ol' like and let me know what you think about Enchantress in the comment section below. I'll be seeing you around, man.